Hey folks, Thrifty Prepper. I've been away a few months. We had a baby and I just haven't had time to do a lot of videos. So today I wanted to knock out a quick one while my son's asleep and go over a few things. I don't have any major pieces of equipment or any humongous changes of anything that have happened because I haven't had time for big projects. But I have been working a little bit on a little bit of gear here and there, refining a few things, and found a couple of interesting little tips and tricks. So this video is more like a prepper's update than anything else, and a few tips and tricks kind of thing. Alright, getting right along into it then. A lot of stuff came from a dollar store. I just found a very inexpensive locking wrench, not too big but a handy item to have, so that was $1. Got a small file. It's has a rounded edge and a flat edge, handy, and it also tapers a bit, so I can, in a pinch, sharpen a serrated edge with that. So those two things fit nicely into the tool bag. On the note of tools, at the dollar store, found these work gloves, and they have rubber fingers all the way around and palms, so it protects your hands. But the backing on it is very thin. You can almost see through. So they provide no warmth at all. It's all hand protection, but good dexterity. You can do little things with them. So this I have in mind for either working with something wet, because it would drain out the back if water were to be gathering in here, or if you just don't want to scuff up, cut up, and tear up your hands, or get them terribly dirty. But $1, and they're very small and very lightweight. That's a good find. Furthermore, at my office, we have been, we changed out a few printer cartridges and things on copiers and fax machines, and when you order one, they send a kit where you can send the old one, the depleted one, back for recycling, and in those comes these bags, all different sizes and stuff, but they're very, very thick, tough bags. And you can see it's almost the length of my arm, this one. This one's very long and wider and has a great zip closure on it. So these are so tough, and we weren't recycling them, so I kept the bags, but I see them as either pillows or water containers or stuff sacks or something like that. But they're way stronger than your typical Ziploc bags, and they were free. And I love to repurpose stuff for my gear, so I grabbed a couple of those. So if you're in an office or have access to those heavy plastic bags, those are good. On the note of water procurement and so forth, I got a new water bottle, which is just the right size for a life straw. So it's logical for those to stay in place, and it protects my life straw. So there's a tip for some of you. Put your water filter inside your water container. Keep it all in one place and let one protect the other. I am also a bit of a space-saving whore, so in the middle of these I will stick a glow stick, a milkshake tube of Vaseline and cotton fire starter, and a couple of instant coffees. And I could fit more stuff in there, but nevertheless. Okay, so my water bottle holds all that stuff. A few weeks ago, I was cutting up some fruit in the kitchen, and I spliced into my thumb, and I mean I cut it from the side almost over into the nail. Spurting blood, really bad cut. And I had remembered reading somewhere from some first aid tip that cayenne pepper would stop heavy bleeding, or at least slow it down to where it clots. I was in the kitchen already, so I grabbed the cayenne pepper, dumped it onto the wound. It took a couple of applications, but it did clot it. In fact, even the blood that had pooled in the bottom of the sink was clotting with the cayenne pepper that spilled onto it too. So that is legit, that's true. So I have made this little kit, which is in addition to my first aid kit. And what it is, it's a container. I think it was probably some kind of a spice container, and I wrapped 2 sections of medical tape around it. It's probably 20 feet of medical tape. So everything fits together, and in it, a plastic tube of cayenne pepper, a septic stick or a cut off piece of a septic stick, also to stop heavy bleeding, a tampon, which can, well, they're designed to absorb heavy bleeding, so that's what that's for, a mini tube of super glue to seal off a bad cut, and a single serving petroleum jelly or Vaseline packet. So all of those fit in together. Trust me, they all fit in together, and that's on that. So therein is a heavy bleeding trauma kit for my first aid kit, and I made 3 or 4 of these and put them in a lot of different gear. So there's a very inexpensive and invaluable tip for you. One other crafty little thing that I saw someone make, so I made one. It's the lid from a Gatorade bottle, okay, and it was cut off right there, right, so the rest of the bottle would be down here. So it's the top of a Gatorade bottle, cut it off, filed it smooth so there's no shards, and I put a heavy latex balloon around the lip, okay, and then the balloon is pushed through that way. And then you screw the cap onto it right there to hold it. Okay? What is that? Well, it is a pocket slingshot. So I'll just drop a penny down in there, and as you see, you hold it like this. Through the bag, you grab onto the penny or whatever you're using for the ammunition. You pull back and let it go, and I'll tell you, this shoots hard. This is just a wood countertop. You can hear how hard it hits. Okay? It made a circular indentation on the wood. So you can fire anything that you pick up, a pebble, a penny, a nut, either from a tree or like a nut and bolt or whatever. But you can put a reservoir of ammunition in there, and you seal the cap on, and it holds it in there. You don't want to do it so much that it tears the balloon, obviously, because then it's going to tear up. But this is like a disposable slingshot and an excellent glass breaker. So if you want to take 10 minutes for a little do-it-yourself pocket-sized slingshot glass breaker tool, I thought it was clever, and until I need the space for something else, I'm going to use that. Okay. So we always have first aid kits for our bodies. We always carry a bunch of tools around and this and that kind of stuff. But I realized I don't have a first aid kit for the bag itself. So that's really what this is. Just a small clear envelope, and quickly I'll dump it out and go through everything. Adhesive Velcro, a spare buckle, snap, plastic D-ring, a couple of zipper pulls, some lightweight wire, some very small zip ties, a patch of gaffer's tape on a card. These are even more zip ties. I've got a bunch of zip ties. This is super glue, but it's just wrapped up in gaffer's tape, so in case it bursts, everything doesn't adhere to it one another. And that's a spout for the super glue. Another clasping buckle. Some good old-fashioned tarp or tent patch. Just a section of nylon patch in the event of a rip or a tear. This is, I had a little thing of dental floss, and I broke the whole dispenser away from it, and it's a tiny little spool, but I think it's like 400 feet of dental floss, which is awesome repair thread, and then I just wrap some tape around it so it won't unwind. Electrical tape, wrapped just around some cardboard, and a bag of rubber bands, and then that bag itself. So all of that stuff is, I consider that like a first aid kit for the bag. Okay, and a couple of EDC items I've picked up recently. I may have had these in other videos, but your Fisher Space Pen. I love this particular one because, as you know, it's short, right? Fits in your pocket without noticing it's there. When the cap's put on the back, it's the size of a regular pen. I've been using this over a year and have not gone through the first cartridge of ink yet. So I really, really like it for the size, and I actually get a little crazy if I misplace it for a couple of hours. I'll tear my work apart looking for it. And then I got to give the Through Night, doesn't say which model it is, but flashlight. It's a Through Night single A battery, bright as hell. The main reason I chose this one is at first for the clip. You see how it's a doubled over clip? So it either works the regular way for a pocket clip, or where it doubles back here, it can be slid onto the brim of a hat for a headlamp. I love this, and I carry it every single day, and I use it constantly. It's about 17 bucks. I find it to be the best small flashlight out there. And then everybody carries around their Write in the Rain notebook. You see it in everyone's gear. But you know what I always see? I always see someone pull it out and go, Write in the Rain notebook, and they say nothing more about it. Use your Write in the Rain notebook. On the inside cover, I don't know if it's every brand, but on this one, there are all sorts of incremental measures and statistical information, but useful stuff. What I have gotten in the habit of doing is, on the inside page, I have several post-it notes in here. Because I've just found that a Write in the Rain notebook, it's rigid enough that I have it in my back pocket all the time now, work or home. But it's just the right size that if you're jotting down a few notes, you just put a piece of paper on there and you can write with it. I don't want to use up all of my pages necessarily, so I'll keep a half dozen or so post-it notes in there. If I'm making a quick note about something, I just stick it to the outside, jot it down, use the book itself as like a mini clipboard, and then I'm not using the treated pages, the waterproof pages, which are the value of the notebook. I'm not using those wastefully for little notes, but I still have my everyday notebook that I'm using just by putting post-its in it. Furthermore, I've gotten into a very good habit of keeping, it's hard to focus on, the information that's written there isn't important, but they're just my own jotted down notes, and they're a little bit of everything, but this is my survival book. It has contents of my bug out bag, everyday carry items, a whole list of things that can be put into drinking straws and sealed off as good carry devices, some do-it-yourself projects and some video ideas that I want to make, a whole list of very good phone apps that are good for prepping and survivalism, several methods of water purification, and 2 drops of bleach to 1 quart of water. Factual information that's important to have, but you might not have memorized, or this is your reference book. I have a few little sketches in here for how to construct like a fish catching basket or a water snare for catching fish, so on and so forth. So you can fill your book with any kind of information. I have a checklist of things that I would do in my house if I were bugging in for a natural disaster. So, gathering your water, charging your phones, getting your bug out materials near the door. Doing all of these different things where when you're in that situation, you know what to do, but you'll lose time in remembering what to do. So I kind of have my lists together. And there's still plenty of spare paper in here, but I like having, everybody likes to have their waterproof notebook, their Write in the Rain book, but it can also, half of it can be devoted to your survival information and things that you need, critical phone numbers, so on and so forth, medications that you or your family take. And then you still have the other half to use for the waterproof notebook that you want to use it for. So that's my big value tip for the day. The other thing is the damn thing's becoming half a wallet because I have so many loose notes and things to myself that I keep in there. But still, less space than a wallet, and it's an encyclopedia of information. So don't just have a Write in the Rain notebook, actually use your Write in the Rain notebook and make good use of it. Alright, that's my quick prepper update. So there's a half dozen or so things that I've been into over the month or two when I haven't been doing videos. I think my next one may be to put together some sort of a winter kit for the car. My idea of it is, perhaps like a coffee can full of rock salt, wrapped in some cut inner tubes, which can be traction mats slipped under your tires if you're stuck in the snow. Some idea like that. So that'll be the next thing. Okay, sorry for the absence. I hope this was useful. It was kind of varietal and sort of off the cuff, but thanks very much to anyone who has already liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all those things we ask you to do on Facebook. Please continue supporting the channel. I hope to be able to produce more videos and get some more information out there. But for the moment, thanks very much and keep on prepping.